A veteran of several impeachments said that an impeachment inquiry without a floor vote by the Congress would, quote, create a process completely devoid of any merit or legitimacy.
So you got Katie Porter playing Guess Who Republican version during a sham impeachment hearing. Well, sign me up.
Mr. Dubinsky, who said that?
I don't know.
Thursday's oversight hearing went as well for Republicans as a date night with Lauren Boebert. And it was great to see Democrats across the board really lean into the Katie Porter way of framing things using visual aids.
But then just 12 days later, 12 precious days later, something happens. I'm not sure what, but something happens, because then the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, comes out and says, yes, we will do an impeachment inquiry. So what happened between these 12 days? It's very simple. 3 threats from members of his own caucus at the direction of former President Donald Trump changed his mind. Number one, the threat to force a vote on impeachment, which would lose on the House floor and be another embarrassment in the long list of embarrassments this Congress for the Speaker of the House.
But it was the master herself who stole the show, playing a game of Guess Who GOP edition to fully emphasize the hypocrisy of those who polled for this hearing and wasted taxpayer money doing so, despite advocating for the exact opposite in the past.
A veteran of several impeachments said that an impeachment inquiry without a floor vote by the Congress would, quote, create a process completely devoid of any merit or legitimacy. Mr. Dubinsky, who said that?
I don't know.
Ms. O'Connor, who said this?
No clue.
Mr. Turley, who said this? I'm just asking you, can you say again for the committee, do you know who made this statement, and if so, who?
I don't. I've made an objection along those lines.
Reclaiming my time. This quote is a statement from now Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Mr. Dubinsky, do you know the date of the House floor vote on this impeachment inquiry?
No, I don't think there was a House floor vote.
Ms. O'Connor, do you remember any House vote?
I have not been following that.
Professor Turley, was there a House vote on this impeachment inquiry?
And not that I know of.
So this House vote didn't happen. There has not been a House vote to move forward with this impeachment inquiry. So we haven't followed what the Speaker himself, Mr. McCarthy, has said is the process that we should be following so that an impeachment inquiry would have merit or legitimacy, which is something that I think all Americans on both sides of the aisle should expect investigations or inquiries like this to have. I think Americans should be able to expect that the things we do in this body have merit or legitimacy. Today, by having this hearing, Republicans have changed their tune. I think I know why Speaker McCarthy is going back on his conviction. His members are demanding an impeachment, but their months and months of investigating our president have not revealed yet any evidence that he himself has committed crimes. But Speaker McCarthy wants to keep his job, so he is set on delivering an impeachment inquiry, whether or not there is any evidence, and even if, in his own words, that impeachment inquiry would be devoid of any merit or legitimacy. Mr. Dubinsky, I have one final question. What is the title of this hearing?
The title was The Basis for an Impeachment Inquiry of President Joseph Biden.
But according to Speaker McCarthy, there isn't a legitimate or meritorious basis yet for this hearing. And no amount of noise on the other side of the aisle is going to change this. As Speaker McCarthy said, in his words, this impeachment inquiry is devoid of any merit or legitimacy. Wow, I just did it. At the very end of an extremely contentious hearing, I found something that Speaker McCarthy was correct about.
I mean, this is up there with the time that she used Jeopardy as a way to highlight the hypocrisy of the GOP over the debt ceiling. And here's the thing, the common theme across the board during this sham hearing was not only just the embarrassing lack of evidence, which was highlighted from the get-go.
Mr. Turley, I have a simple question for you. In your testimony today, are you presenting any first-hand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
No, I'm not.
No, you are not. Ms. O'Connor, you are the second Republican witness here today. Have you, in your testimony, presented any first-hand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
I have not.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Dubinsky, as the third and final Republican witness in this hearing, have you, in your testimony, presented any first-hand witness account of crimes committed by the President of the United States?
I have not.
And Professor Gerhardt, given that you are the minority witness, I assume the same, correct?
I am not a fact witness, correct.
Thank you.
But also the lack of moral consistency. As a government shutdown looms, Republicans are shamelessly using the very thing that they so adamantly rejected to simply distract from their own malpractice.
And distract the American people's attention by spending taxpayer dollars on this sham impeachment hearing 2 days before they shut the government down in hopes that the media, and I don't just mean Fox News, will fall for their scheme and give more airtime to the lies being told on this committee today than the real life impact their shutdown will have on even their own constituents' lives. In fact, in Chairman Comer's district, Republicans' shutdown will cost 8,937 of his constituents their paychecks. In Jim Jordan's district, Republicans' shutdown will cost 3,939 of his constituents their paychecks. In Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, Republicans' shutdown will cost 6,306 of her constituents their paychecks. In Lauren Boebert's district, Republicans shut down.
Democrats are the party of shutdowns. You guys love shutdowns.
Thank you very much. In Lauren Boebert's district, Republicans shutdown will cost 9,016 of her constituents their paycheck.
I mean, they can't even agree as a party on a spending bill. And also, do they forget that the internet exists? If not, let us refresh your memory.
Our job is to legislate, not to continue to investigate something in the back when you cannot find any reason to impeach this president.
That's why today I am directing our House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden.
The American people understand this. They want to get beyond this very partisan impeachment.
I've been supportive of the impeachment inquiry going back to July, Brian.
There aren't the votes to do this right, so you're playing this game in the Judiciary Committee.
I think we can get the votes, but you don't need that to move forward.
I think that Speaker Pelosi overreacted. I mean, an impeachment inquiry is unprecedented.
I'm very happy that we have the impeachment inquiry.
Speaker Pelosi needs to end this infatuation with impeachment.
We've been talking about bringing an impeachment inquiry for months.
And above all else, you know this whole thing is going terribly wrong when Steve Bannon is questioning your strategy.
Seconds to Mr. Moskowitz. It's your lucky day. You get 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's your lucky day. What a day we are having here, isn't it? Right? I mean, listen, as a former director of emergency management, I know a disaster when I see one. I mean, by the way, you don't believe me, just ask Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, your guy, just went on and said, perhaps...
Whose guy, Steve Bannon?
Yeah, well, you know who Steve Bannon is. Steve Bannon just went on and said perhaps the Republicans shouldn't have started with a witness. He was talking about Professor Turley, who was going to say right off the bat that there wasn't an impeachable offense. I quote, he says, perhaps we should have put him on the maybe list for one of our witnesses. So your other witness, Ms. O'Connor, gave a complete recitation of the last 9 months, 8 months of these hearings. She went through some of the greatest hits that have come out, right? Everything that has been presented, both in these committees that we've been having, on TV, all of the evidence that you guys have been presenting over the last 8 months, all of that together. And what does Professor Turley say? It says everything we know at this juncture doesn't rise to the level of impeachment. Boy, that is awkward. I mean, it's like political impeachment malpractice. But look.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.